G'day viewers, it's Benny here from the Basketball Blokes, and it must be getting close to the start of the NBL season because we have been getting quite a few inquiries about becoming a Patreon supporter. Now, this is a full demonstration video and I'm going to take you through what you get for your support. Just a quick note, all of the support that you guys have provided us so far has been pretty well put back into the podcast, and the big ticket item this year we're hoping to use our Patreon support dollars for is some live scoring on the website. So thanks for those that have supported us so far, and those who want to support us in the future, I'll show you how to do it right now. So this is our Patreon page at patreon.com/basketballblokes. You can find links here from our website, which is basketballblokes.com, or through our social media. Now, what you're looking at here is the tiers in the membership level. So we have $1 Top Bloke tier, we have the $5 Choice Captains Bro tier, and the $7 Stats What I'm Talking About tier. Okay, so what do you get for your $1? So for $1, you get access to our Discord chat. Now, I personally think that this Discord chat is the best place to talk NBL fantasy, and you get access to the Discord chat in all the $1, the $5 and $7 tiers. Let's hear from one of our current Patreon supporters in Zach and what he thinks about our Discord chat.
G'day there, it's Zach, also known as the Fez, coach of the Fez Monkeys. I gotta say, the best part of being a Patreon supporter is the ever so helpful Basketball Blokes community. Whether it be team advice, injury news or Boydie's gifts, the Discord chat has it covered. Also, quite handy for those pesky last minute player withdrawals.
Now that's from a fantasy coach in Zach who's finished in the top 10 of the overall rankings 2 years in a row. So let's have a look at what we get for the Choice Captains Bro tiers. So obviously the first thing we need to let you know is that from week 4, Banksy's Captains is going to be exclusive to Patreon and will be featured in video format. So nice change this year. Hopefully Banksy's selections can match the production quality of his segment. Now, as a Patreon supporter, you'll get access to our Patreon leagues. I mentioned that because Zach was actually one of the winners of our Patreon leagues last year, taking home a $25 NBL store voucher. And what you also get is access to our pre-season cheat sheet, which includes captain options for round 1, cash cows, uniques, locks, and more. Let's hear from Ruby Ann and what she thought about being a Patreon supporter last year.
Hi everybody, my name's Ruby and I'm the coach of the McValentines. My favourite thing about being a Patreon supporter is the pre-season cheat sheet and knowing that I'm going to get my team off to the best start, and the Discord chat where everyone helps me see sense after I get a little trade wild.
Thank you, Ruby. And now we all do support each other in our trade decisions as part of the Discord chat. Another plug for that there. But let's just take a look at what last year's cheat sheet involved, including the cash cows, Banksy's Captains for round 1. And once again, we've got a 6-week block of schedule. Last year we ended up with a 2-week block of schedule, so we'll be happy there. We've got Benny's Blitz, which will be talking about essentially a scale of hardness and looking at the advanced stats there from the Blitz. Oracle's Principles. Sorry, I should have given you a warning before we showed you that, but we might have something from last year's winner in Denham Melrose in that slot this year. We've got unique players, locks, and we even gave our fantasy base station, which is players that we all agree should be the formation of your starting side from last season. So that is what the cheat sheet was last season. Similar quality expected for this season. Hopefully no more schedule changes to interrupt us. Alright, so back to the Discord. Now, the other thing that you're going to get on Discord is for an extra $2, you get everything that you get in Banksy's Captains tier, but you also get some advanced stats, which I alluded to a little bit in the cheat sheet there. Let's hear about from last year's winner in Denham Melrose and what his favourite thing about being a Patreon supporter was.
Hey guys, Denham Melrose here, coach of OK Then. And my favourite part about being a Patreon with the Basketball Blokes is all the data and stats they send through. It's worth far more than they charge, and it couldn't be more handy.
Yep, I can see how Denham, having won $5,000 from NBL Fantasy this year, could think that paying $7 a month for some advanced stats could be seen as good value. But I think anyone who enjoys their fantasy will see that it's good value. We've actually got a little bit of a preview. I'm just going to talk you through what the stats look like, what it involves, and what you're getting for your money. Okay, so I'm going to just go to the very start here and show you what the back end of this looks like. We have to input every player's individual scores and their minutes and the opposition scores who scored against them. Now, what this does is this generates very useful stats. Now, what we're looking at here from the first few games of the Blitz, now that everyone's played a game, you can see here the points for, so we can see what offenses are scoring well, and it was the Hawks with the best fantasy points for performance so far in the bright green there, and Perth struggling understandably under their new coach and only having 182 fantasy points for the round. Obviously, small sample size. This obviously becomes more statistically significant as we go through, but there were some real trends that we could pick on as fantasy coaches throughout the year. And looking at points against, we've got Perth. They were the number one fantasy defense last year. They were also the number one fantasy offense. And once again, they have started well from a defensively. Will we see teams getting perfed again this season? We will wait. Added benefit is looking at the position groups. We break out down points scored against, or points conceded against guards, wings, which are SF eligible players, and bigs. So obviously small sample size again, but what we've been looking for is who's giving up the most points to power forwards and centers, because there are really good captain options in NBL Fantasy. So far in the Blitz, 132 fantasy points conceded by the New Zealand Breakers, and that was a trend. If we eventually we'll see a trend, and we can find what teams we want to pick on with our captain choices. Now, obviously, with the Blitz games, we've seen a couple of overtime games. You know, there's not always a perfect basis for working out. The stats probably aren't that reflective, should I say, of what we might see in the regular season, with teams sort of resting their players and having players on minutes restrictions. So what becomes very important is the fantasy points per minute. Now, we can see here that we've got a couple of standouts up the top. The two Joes, Joe Chi, JLA, both averaging in excess of 2 fantasy points per minute. We've got Josh Majette, he's my jet, not yours. Lamar Patterson, Big Zim on the rim, McCormy maybe. The schedule doesn't say so, but certainly the fantasy points per minute does. A few other players I've highlighted here. DJ with a good schedule to start, and Rowdy. Howdy Rowdy, will he be in your fantasy team? So these advanced stats will get sent through to you in a lovely little email with a newsletter. And yeah, look, that's for $2, considering the amount of work that it takes to get into it. We think that it will help you potentially be like Denham and win your fantasy league for the year. All right, so that's it. That's the stats as well. What I wanted to do now is finish from one of our other Patreon supporters in Watto, and I think you should take his advice.
Hey, I'm Watto, and I'm the coach of the Coogee Hornets. If you want to get all the stats and have some great banner with all those like-minded fantasy individuals, make sure you get on board with the Basketball Blokes and become a Patreon.